Hey folks, what's up? DB here. Uh, I was going over thinking about myself, what could I actually put on this channel? Cause I wanted to make a tech channel, but I didn't quite know what to actually put here, and I thought, well, why don't I just start at the basics? So what I decided to do, more than anything else, I decided to do a tutorial. And you might be wondering, what kind of tutorial could I be doing with a Radeon HD 7950? And that's a fair question. And I said, well, a lot of people really still get intimidated when it comes to taking apart graphic cards. A lot of people, they don't actually like to dismantle things. They just like to pop into a machine and go. And well, if you don't like to void a warranty, that actually makes some sense. Though I must admit that that's a little not my style. I like to get in there. I like to ponder. I like to tweak. I like to mess around. That's really my thing. One of the things you might run into, especially if you have like an older card like this, is especially if you have it like a couple years, like 4 or 5 years, whatever. Now this is like a 4-year-old, coming close to 5 years, I suppose. But I think it's a good solid 4-year-old card if I'm not mistaken. And it's fairly dated. So if you I don't have stock thermal paste on this, but if you did, it would probably be around time where you would probably kind of consider thinking about changing that. Well, that's what we're going to do today. Is we're going to take out the thermal paste and we're going to change it and we're going to put it back together. So, well, without further ado, let's get to it. Well, before I forget, almost forgot. Before we go into that mode there are a few things you're actually going to need. One, you're going to need screwdrivers. I like to keep the really small kind around. Get into all the tiny little screws you see in the tiny little pockets. Right there. Pockets, holes, sockets. I don't know why I call them pockets. Tiny little screwdrivers. I like these kind. They're really nice. Keep those on hand. And you're also going to need, when it comes to removing the thermal paste, you're going to need some kind of material. Some people like to use coffee filters. Some people like to use paper towels. Basically, any soft fabric, microfiber does well too. Any soft fabric that doesn't leave a whole lot of lint or material behind works. I tend to use these soft fabric cotton rags. I have a surplus of these things. Basically, they're left over from the past business when it used to be used for oil, so I cleaned off all that stuff, and I just got hundreds of them. And some people like to use specialized thermal paste remover. I use that. I have some. I thought about using it this time around. I decided against that. I tried to use more of a more common method for a more budget-oriented audience here. So what I use is I use just regular old ibuprofen alcohol or rubbing alcohol. Like 91%. Usually you want to go for something that's as close to 90% as possible. 90% or above will work good. A lot of people say, you at least want to get 98%. That's not necessary. Well, the only job this really has is to remove the thermal paste without leaving a residue. About 90% is actually going to give you that result. I heard of some people actually using lighter fluid. I've never done that myself, but I guess you could do that. Just be careful what fluid you actually use on your electronics. Naturally, all this actually could apply to clean off CPUs as well as GPUs as well. And then last but not least, we're going to need some kind of thermal paste to replace the thermal paste that we're going to be removing. And today, we're actually going to be using a bulk of thermal paste from Cooler Master. Focus. Focus. Fine, don't focus. It's the Ice Fusion. And this is the 40 gram bulk. It's a lesser bulk. It's for about $10. I had this thing for well over 6 something years. Been good. I never had an issue with it except for once, and that was a very unique occasion. So now we went over everything we're actually going to need. Let's go ahead. Let's get to it. So, that is how you change your thermal paste in your graphic card. It's just that easy. Peace.